Bash is still insane. Tier 8, easy, tormented bosses? They're just a loot piñata at this point. And the pit? Well, not sure why you would run those this season, but we're breezing through them. I've also got 2 versions to show you, one with Rupture and one with Hota. Okay, Mr. Perragaming, so which version should I play? Well, damn, try both, will you? Experiment a little, as your wife used to say before she pegs you in the ass. But first off, let's talk about the changes that we've made since we last met. That is, Season 4. Because the changes are quite substantial. First out, you may have heard that the Bashcleave temper was absolutely gutted. And this is indeed true. It's also true that the key passives were turned to shit, and that Barb is no longer the golden boy of Blizzard, unless you count the golden piss we were forced to swallow after the new season dropped. But either way, the build also got a bunch of substantial buffs. Namely, we got the Shard of Varathiel, and all of the Ubers turned out pretty great. But when it comes to Shard of Varathiel, there is also a few lovely interactions this allows us to use. For starters, we can grab the Starless Skies if you have it. But more importantly, we're now able to rock Wrath of the Berserker for a 75% damage increase. This is just lovely, as in the Rupture variant. You are going to be able to keep this ultimate up permanently. And why is that? Well, damn, due to Rage of Harrogath. This piece just instantly resets the cooldown, and if you manage to combine it with Shaco, reset even faster. I therefore recommend rocking the Rupture variant unless you're blowing up bosses or swipe a Tyrael's Might. What this also allows us to do is to keep resetting Foreskin, and in turn unlock Immortality. Now I've also done a buttload of changes in the skill tree and Perragons since we last met, but we'll cover that shit soon. Let's first just quickly talk about the basics of the skills, in case there are any shit newbies out there that hasn't played this amazing build previously. First off, the Bashcleave temper is massively important. While it's not as strong as previously, it's still mandatory as to make Bash an AoE skill. Without it, you're just pounding away at nothing, and you will need to grab this before you can play the build. Other than that, though, our main scaling comes from the fact that basic skills are just fucking bonkers when it comes to their aspects. They far surpass any other aspects in the game, and by slapping them on, you just instantly have a build. When it comes to the skills we haven't covered yet, it's rather simple. They're just there to buff up. On top of that, we no longer need to solve Fortify within the skill tree any longer, finally being able to use the Warbringer legendary node instead of wasting precious damage points. Other than that, though, you just hold down the bash button and start, well, bashing enemies to death. Fun, yet completely brain dead. Alright, so that's the basics. Let's check out the gear and aspects now. I'm currently rocking my Uber-Duber setups, meaning it's not for the newbies. You'll find the shit newbie version in the planner instead. I'd also like to mention that what I'm currently doing to gain resources is to get punched in the face. I'm not going to recommend that, however, as that will most likely piss some of you off, and instead recommending you to grab Fury per second on one of your gear pieces. Either way, the Shaco is the Uber you should prioritize the most here, along with Starless Skies. They're so insanely good for Bash, it's insane. The Granddaddy is kind of mid, and Tyrael's is also great, but only for the Hota version. Why Shaco is great is due to the cooldown reduction, allowing for easy cooldown resets. To cover up them big old Barbarian titties, slap on the Rage of Harrogath for the big boy Rupture variant, and Tyrael's for the Hota variant. This is due to it requiring you to use bleeds to reset cooldowns, and for that you have Rupture. Next up are the Pain Gorges. The ones I have are Legacy, meaning they're dog shit in comparison to the updated version. Instead of these, you can now get basic skill ranks on them, which should boost your damage massively. For the Pantaloonies, these are pretty damn good. The only thing I'd change here is to remove the crowd control duration and instead grant barrier generation for bigger shields via Iron Skin. For aspect, the Iron Warrior is just too good to pass on. As boots, your main prio is Warcry ranks, but I would, no joke, remove either strength or movement speed for Fury per second, as it's just a massive quality of life upgrade if you're bad at the game. For the aspect, the Hectic aspect is also godly, allowing for more cooldown resets. Now, onto the weapons, because here, things are actually pretty damn interesting, I'd say. You of course want Moonrise on the two-hander and Conceited on the other one-hander. And Shard of Varathiel, that's just mandatory at this point. The interesting part, though, is the Granddaddy. It's interesting because it's actually kind of mid. An aspect, along with a high bash cleaver roll and masterwork, is pretty much just as strong as this one now. But it's also just easier to grab it, seeing as you won't have to deal with any annoying tempers and shit. Either way, for the prio, Bash Cleave Temper is the name of the game, and on Shard of Varathiel, you'll go for attack speed and basic skill ranks. Well damn, those are the weapons. Let's check out the jewelry now. This one is so hecking good, I'm legit just cooming right now watching it. Yep, it's happening. Fucking hell. Only thing you could swap is Iron Skin cooldown for Warcry, but if you have a Rob, the Barbarian Shako, that is one with GA on the cooldown and masterworked, then you'll be overcapped on Warcry cooldown reduction. But for most people, sure, go for Warcry cooldown instead. For aspect, the adaptability aspect is just too good. For the rings, you'll grab this one, where chance to make enemies vulnerable is by far the most important stat, followed by Starless if you have it. If you don't, however, then slap on the Edging Master instead. Well damn son, gear and aspects are now done. Let's check out how to set up your weapons real quick. For Rupture, we have always been running two-handed sword previously. But seeing as we're barely dealing any bleed damage, but after recording the footage, I realized that setting it to dual wield is just way better seeing, as it's then faster. For Bash, however, you need to set it to two-handed. Why, we'll get to in a sec. And as weapon expertise, the two-handed axe is just too heckin' good, my man. Alright, so why two-hander? Well, shit, son. Let's take some frequently asked questions, because it's the first question I'll get after this video. That is this playable with dual wield? No, if you play dual wield this season, then you're fucking stupid. Previously, we used it to reset our cooldowns faster and gain crit chance for the Gushing Wounds key passive. But nothing of that is no longer necessary, and by rocking a two-hander, you can use Violent Hammer of the Ancients for 40% Big Dam if you're running the Hota version, along with grabbing 35 massive Big Dam from heavy-handed. It's sad, I know, but dual wield is now shit. Alright, my big dick senpai, I have another question. I'm having resource problems, how do I fix that? Well, you can start off by watching the fucking guide, but just for good measure. Fury per second on your gear. You can also grab the Starlight aspect or aspect of Vocalized Empowerment if you want. Hey, Mr. Gamer God, your items doesn't look the same as mine does. Yeah, no shit. My Rage of Harrogath and Pain Gorges got massively buffed in Season 5. This character is still on Eternal. With those, you'll deal way more damage. Oh, big boy, those sure are a buttload of uniques. Where can I find them? Uber Bosses is the easiest target farming. Simply Google Maxroll Uber Boss loot table and you have what you need. Okay, enough of the interrogation. I can't do this no more. And just in time, seeing as it's just about skill tree oh fucking clock, and you know it. Starting us off, we want as many ranks as possible in Bash, along with Enhanced and Battle Bash for the Rupture variant, and Combat Bash for the Hota variant. If you play with Hota, then you simply crit with Bash 4 times and drop a Hota on their sorry asses for the overpower. And why do we want that? Well, damn, to utilize Violent Hota, of course. But I'm not rocking that currently, so let's head on over to the defensive skills. Imposing and Martial Vigor grants defense, and Foreskin is just insanely strong. Oh, and it's also bugged, instantly granting you full health as you use it. We also grab Outburst and Tough as Nails here. This makes sure that every enemy attacking us are bleeding, which we need for our Perragons, and also that we have a bit of Thorns. And why do we want a bit of Thorns? Well, damn, due to a glyph giving us more damage. We'll see that soon. Challenging Shout is of course a must, and then we go to the brawling skills. Here we simply pick up Warcry, along with a bit of healing and defensives. It's then time to pick up a buttload of big hecking damage. Counter-offensive is now the strongest passive for us to have on the amulet, so try to prioritize that. I'm then rocking Rupture, along with Enhanced and Warrior's Rupture, to reset cooldowns and gain attack speed. It's then time for some ultimate skills. Heavy-Handed and Wallop are just flat-out damage buffs. Brute Force is on average complete dogshit, as we're only overpowering once per 12 second, but it's great for making thumbnails LMAO. 1 point in Concussion is also great to boost your survivability via crowd control. Invigorating Fury grants more healing, and of course, Wrath of the Berserker for the massive damage bonus, along with not having to look at my fat-ass Barbarian face anymore. And finally, the key passive. They're all pretty shit now, but Unconstrained is the least shitty one seeing, as it at least grants us 35% damage. Thank you for that one, Blizz. Well damn, skill tree complete. Before we continue, I'd just like to show you something cool, because I've been working with Crimson Market the last couple of months. And with working, I mean they have been working and I've been getting paid. I'm just going to press this button right here and... Yep, damn right. They made a fucking auction house for us. You can now list items from within the game in like 2 seconds, and they're also working on upgrading it. I'll have a link in the description for the add-in and the website. On top of that, Freddie Mercury and his dad over here are trying something new. They're always giving away a PC each month, but this time around, you'll be able to participate without paying using their golden Dorito. Personally, I don't want you to use it because that grants me a bigger chance of winning the PC, but seeing as they got me under gun threat, I don't have much of a choice here. The draft will be on the stream of Woody or the Hoodie, and it's pretty fucking stupid not to participate if I'm being honest. Okay, so the Perragons. Starting us off, we have Exploit to instantly gain Vulnerable. Next up is Might, for the additional damage and to boost nearby resistances. This is done in the Warbringer board, which is our main source of Fortify now. Now, if you have the Granddaddy, then it doesn't matter for shit what boards you go to next. But if you don't, then we head up here to Carnage and Socket Marshal to gain some cooldown reduction. It's then time for Blood Rage, which should be capped if you follow the planner. I'm not capped currently, as I ran out of tempers. We're also socketing Revenge here for additional defensives, along with boosting our damage. We then want Bulwark for defensives along with Bonebreaker to gain some overpowers every now and then. And then finally, the Decimator board. Grab this for Big Damn, and Socket Ire for damage reduction and some more damage while berserking. Now, I'm probably going to get a question about this, but why are we only running 5 glyphs and 6 boards when we can get them up to insanity such as 8? Well damn, due to all the Barbarian nerfs, pretty much every node and glyph left has turned to absolute dog shit. It's quite sad when you think about it, and the only choice we had left was to just pick up defensives instead. Either way, let's stop crying like a pair of toddlers and let's go get hecking good, shall we? Hell yeah. Now, as I previously said, this build is just fucking brain dead. Every single skill on your bar, except for Rupture or Hota, will be used on cooldown. You're then just simply holding down the bash button and dominate the entire game. Okay, so what about Rupture and Hota then? Well damn, for Rupture you're mainly using it every time your attack speed bonus drops. This is quite easy to see, seeing as you'll suddenly just attack slower. Now here is another massive bonus to using Rupture though. It marks every enemy around you with pain gorges. So if you see a lot of enemies that don't have the Pain Gorger's symbol above their head, then just drop a Rupture and you'll tag them. It's then time to start blasting. This is a huge reason as to why I prefer this version. It's just silky smooth to mark enemies, reduce your cooldowns, and start blasting again. When it comes to the Halter version, I mainly prefer this for killing bosses, since it has a bit higher damage output, especially in short fights. It's also a bit scuffed when it comes to marking up enemies with Pain Gorgers. But you have two ways in which you'll need to care about Halter. First off, you want to use it when this symbol right here is up to 4. This means that your next Halter will overpower and in turn buff you. The other way to also use Halter is to mark enemies so you can blow them up with your bashes. Well shit son, that's all for this one. All the trading links are in the description. Sub you legend, and I'll see you in the next one.